time we turn on our TVs, every time we boot up our computers, we're greeted with this seemingly endless stream of ads from big pharma corporations that offer us pills and injections and liquid serums that they say will improve our day-to-day lives. Oh yeah, your life will be so much better. We're going to help you save a few extra years with our friends and family. Never mind the fact that the ads feature 30 seconds or more of adverse side effects and life or death warnings that are read at a spitfire pace like they're just no big deal. We're told that we need what they're selling and that buying it is the only way to live a quality life. But usually, as the side effect disclaimers suggest, if you actually take a moment to listen to them, these big pharma remedies only serve to make us sick. They serve to slowly kill us, to necessitate the creation of even more medications, even more phony treatments, to keep us in some doctor's waiting room until we finally fall over and die. Now, while the mega corporations are pushing poison, there's a handful of medical trailblazers that have been exploring alternative paths, combining modern technology with ancient medical traditions and wisdom, and bringing all of us products that we can use to help cure aches and pains, to combat chronic fatigue, even to stop or reverse the physical aging process. Seriously, reversing the aging process. The people over at LifeWave are doing exactly that. LifeWave offers patches that employ phototherapy to stimulate specific points on the skin, promoting good health and well-being. So when placed on your skin, LifeWave patches go to work immediately by trapping infrared energy and reflecting it back into your body. While they're there, the patches provide tiny amounts of pressure to specific points on the body, a practice called acupressure, which, by capturing infrared energy, works on the human body like acupuncture. LifeWave's patches put a modern spin on ancient Chinese traditions to keep energy flowing smoothly through your entire body, optimizing your health and your overall state of being, really. LifeWave has products not just to aid in your energy production and anti-aging goals, seriously, anti-aging, but to help you get a restful night's sleep, to improve your exercise performance, muscle gain, fat loss, migraine headaches, your overall health, and a whole lot more. David Schmidt is the founder and CEO of LifeWave. He spent more than 30 years in business as product development and holds over 130 patents. Now, David has worked on high-level research teams developing drug-free energy technology for the United States military, specifically the Navy SEALs. And through this research, he developed a patch that he used to increase energy levels in the body through phototherapy. The patch later became the first LifeWave prototype and helped launch what David says is his mission to provide the world with wearable wellness technology. And he joins us now. David, this is incredibly exciting. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Stu. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. What kind of people should use these patches?
Well, the patches are really designed for anyone. We do our clinical studies on people over the age of 18 for a number of ethical considerations. We're not attempting to treat or cure any type of disease, but generally speaking, if a child had pain and they were old enough to communicate that they were in pain and where the pain was, then they would be able to use the patches with adult supervision. But when you look at the method of action of these products, that they're improving cell communications in the body, they're improving energy production in the body, then they're really designed for everyone.
So you talked about, and I've talked with Julie and I've talked with Crystal Tini, a lot of people about this. This is very exciting stuff. And I have heard some testimonials from people that are just absolutely mind-blowing. When people put these patches on, how do they work? What should they expect? How long do they take to work? Talk about this anti-aging and ailment, the benefits for people that have ailments.
So the first thing I would say is that our primary objective in our research today is to stop and reverse human aging. And we're looking at species that already defy the aging process. People are usually surprised to find out that there are certain species on the planet that do not age. And so what we do is, in our labs, we look at a process called biomimetics, meaning we look at these species that don't age, and then we try to develop technology to mimic that process in human beings. And we've been very successful with that, actually. So, but to back up on your question, the basic method of action is light therapy. So you apply the patches to the body, they're activated by body heat, and they stimulate the skin with very low levels of light. This turns on a process in the power generation center of the cell. It's called the mitochondria. And there's a specific series of biochemical reactions that take place in what's known as the electron transport chain. So when you stimulate the skin with light, it increases an enzyme called cytochrome C oxidase, which is a copper-containing enzyme that is a chromophore, meaning it's very sensitive to light. So that's why this works. And when you upregulate cytochrome C oxidase, it increases production of ATP, the basic fuel of the cell. So the first benefit that people are going to get from this technology is that within minutes of using it, it starts to increase production of energy in the cell. And this is the biggest problem that we face as we age, is that people go through a reduction in the amount of energy that their cells can produce. And this technology will reverse that.
So when you talk about age reversal or stopping the process of aging, and then you said actually reversing it, what are some of those indicators? Like, I mean, what do you mean by reversing age? You mean like people are actually going to look younger?
They're going to be physically younger. So what we began doing more than 10 years ago now, actually in the late 2000s, we invested over $4.5 million into stem cell research and ended up with over 70 patents in this area. And the first thing that we were trying to do was to get stem cells to function like younger, healthier cells. And this would obviate potentially the need for a stem cell injection, and it would be safe and efficacious since you're just rejuvenating the cells that are already in your body. But then we went a step further, and we began to look at species like tardigrade, planaria, hydractinia. Planaria, for example, is a flatworm where about 25% of its body is made of stem cells. And the interesting thing about the planaria is that it never ages. It can live, over 1,000 years as long as it's not killed by prey, right? It's not killed in the environment, as long as it has enough food and water and it's safe. My real interest, though, and where I had a breakthrough was in studying lobsters. And lobsters, when you look at the biochemistry, they produce an infinite amount of the enzyme telomerase. And the telomerase will keep the telomeres healthy. So the telomeres are the rods on the end of the chromosomes that control how long we live. So for human beings, each time the cells divide, the telomeres will shorten. So by the time we get into our 70s, we're basically out of telomeres, and then our bodies are going to die. On the lobsters, however, they produce an infinite amount of this enzyme. So actually, lobsters are interesting because they actually get stronger as they age. And the reason why lobsters eventually die is because they're killed in their environment by another species, or they become sick. Otherwise, and they can also outgrow their shells. So I began this study, and basically what I found in lobsters is that there is a biological code of light emission that is coming out of their cells, which prevents the cells from degenerating. And we did studies in our lab to document that this was the case.
Amazing. I had no idea that was the case about lobsters. I don't have a shell, so that's good. I broke out of my shell a long time ago. I think there's a few million people that can attest to that. So I've already outgrown it, busted right out of that thing. Is there any kind of side effects that are negative that, like on the skin or anything when you're wearing these patches?
The beauty of light therapy is that it is inherently safe. And what we're doing is turning on a process that already exists in the body. So there's no foreign chemicals, no herbs or drugs that are entering the body. The only possible reaction that someone could have would be a heat rash or an allergy to the adhesive. So the adhesive that we use is made by 3M. It's hypoallergenic, and about 1 in 10,000 people are going to have a skin allergy to it. So you just remove it and that's it.
So when we talk about anti-aging, this is obviously the most interesting part of this to me, and I think to a lot of people, this anti-aging, like the reversal of the age. You're talking about like organs, you're talking about skin, are you talking about wrinkles, bags under their eyes, canyons in people's foreheads, the stress? I mean, what is it that exactly people should expect? when they look in the mirror, are they going to see something different? Are their workouts going to be enhanced? Is their muscular skeletal, composition going to be, more youthful? Explain that in great detail for the lay people that are at their dinner table.
Right. So yes to all of those things.
Wow.
And we have over 80 clinical studies that we've done over the last 20 years to document these effects. So the first thing that people will notice within the first day of using these products is they feel that they have more energy. And we've documented this. It's about a 23% increase in energy production from using these products. So that's something that what people will notice is normally they might get tired at, let's say, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And with this product, they're not going to get jittery like on caffeine. They'll have very constant, stable levels of energy throughout the day. As they continue to use the products, depending on which one, let's say we have a product for improving athletic performance, they're going to notice within the first week that they're getting an improvement in strength and stamina. By the time they've used the product for the first month, there is statistically significant improvements in strength, stamina, flexibility, grip strength, and so forth.
Amazing. So this isn't like a stimulant like coffee or one of these energy drinks. It's not like a stimulant effect. It's more of a sustained endurance energy effect, something that feels more natural. Do they need to be worn all day, or are they worn at specific times depending on the goals of the person, which patches you're using, etc.?
Yeah, basically, this is really easy to use. You put it on in the morning and you take it off at night. And then we also have patches that people can use in the evening. To go a little bit further on the athletic performance, one of the products that we have will increase the production of an antioxidant in the body called carnosine. And carnosine is very, very interesting. If you went back 20 years, most people in the athletic field would never have heard of it. But what it does is it buffers lactate. And so that's how it is improving endurance. It prevents the muscles from fatiguing. Carnosine is also found in the brain, the heart, the skeletal tissue. It's found in tears, and it has a protective action as an antioxidant. A really interesting thing about carnosine is on longevity. If you go back and look at some of the early studies that were done, it was actually showing that in mammals, you could increase lifespan by 30 to 40% just with this one nutrient. And really exciting is that the animals that were tested, this would be mice and rats, back in the early days, it was found that they actually didn't age until the very end of their lives. So carnosine is a nutrient that really all people should be using to protect their health. And we, of course, have a product for that.
Have you received any pushback from Big Pharma on any of this?
Fortunately, no. I would say as an industry, the phototherapy industry has not been treated well by FDA. There is a very limited number of applications that the FDA will approve and then no further.
So what are some of the testimonials that you have heard that would be amazing to somebody like me, but have become just run-of-the-mill every day for you?
Yeah, I would say that the really amazing things that we see are in age reversal, where people use the products and then after, let's say, 3 months of use, they're noticeably younger looking. After about a year of use, the change is very, very dramatic. I guess, for disclosure, I turned 61 within the next month. So people usually want to ask when we talk about this, what's your age? Those are some things that are pretty dramatic. Other things that we've seen that would be considered anecdotal would be very accelerated wound healing. So, for example, we had a 9-year-old boy in Denmark who had the tip of his finger severed off in a door. And the doctor said, well, he's lost his fingertip. And the parents asked the doctor to reattach the finger, which he did, and it began to die. So they applied one of our products, and in 2 months, the wound had completely healed, and the child regained complete use of his fingertip.
Amazing.
And we have many, many testimonials just like that. Really incredible wound healing.
You look like you're about 40. Seriously, I mean, you do. How long have you been wearing these patches?
20 years.
Wow. And so
20 years. So I started when I was 40.
Do you actually feel like you're getting younger instead of older?
When I've taken blood tests, this would be something I do about 3 or 4 times a year. I look at inflammatory markers to make sure nothing is going wrong. Unfortunately, my blood work is always great. And then another test that I look at would be the telomeres. So I want to know biologically what is my age. And my telomeres test out at about 32. So that's a pretty good marker that what we're doing is going in the right direction.
Amazing. There are before and after pictures, which I have seen. There is a guy in his 70s that was completely bald who now has a full head of hair. That's really hard to believe. But that's true, isn't it? I mean, he put the patch on.
I've met him.
Yeah. Oh, you have. Explain that to me.
I met him when I was in Japan. We have an office in Tokyo. And when I saw that picture, I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, okay, I've got to meet this guy. And we went over and did some meetings in Tokyo, and I got an opportunity to meet him. It was really incredible.
What about putting these things on animals?
Happens all the time. We don't do animal testing the way that pharma would do it. We'll do pain relief studies with horses and dogs because we don't want to harm them. And we've actually shown with infrared imaging that when you put a patch on an animal that's in pain, the inflammation will clear out of its body and the animal goes out of pain. So, people use these on their pets all the time.
Okay, well, with that being said, I didn't know if this was going to set you off or not, but I personally know somebody who I'm not going to throw under the bus who was telling me about these patches. So I guess you get a 50-50 shot because I named the 2 people who were telling me about these patches. And one of them has a dog that was unable to use 3 of its legs. It just hadn't walked for years. This person took a patch off after about 6 hours. So I think you wear them for 12 hours. So there was like a 6-hour whatever usage that had been put on. Within 20 minutes, this dog was up using all the legs and walking. And that's true. It's what happened. So,
right.
You see guys that go to the gym all day long and they look like big and inflamed and, they look swollen, I guess, for the lack of better terminology. They're swole, right? But then these people put these patches on and they become ripped and cut. Explain that. I mean, that's because it's just ridding the inflammation by turning over the stem cells, right?
Well, there's quite a few things that are actually going on there. So the first thing is on the mechanism of action, when we talked about that the patches would upregulate energy production in the cell, actually what it's doing is turning on fat burning. So people are going to get more calories out of burning fat than they are going to be burning sugar. And as people age, the percentage of energy that we get from fat decreases. This is called mitochondrial dysfunction. So there are specific wavelengths of light between 600 and 900 nanometers, as it turns out, that will turn fat burning on. So when we think about big pharma and they have drugs with side effects like Ozempic, they probably don't like the idea that we can use light therapy for burning fat and reducing body weight, right? So that's actually well established in the literature. But in this mechanism of action, what we're looking at is turning on production of different peptides. So for example, in this case, when athletes are going to use them, and in the example that you used with the animal, if we upregulate glutathione production, which is the body's master antioxidant, people will begin to detoxify very, very quickly. Even the U.S. Army, I did a meeting down at Fort Campbell in Kentucky once many years ago, back about 20 years ago, at looking at using the patches to elevate glutathione, which we eventually did. And that's because hearing loss is number one disability in the military. And military had an objective that by 2025, all active military personnel would be on glutathione. So we upregulate glutathione, it acts to detoxify the body, and people can lose body fat and trim down and get these toxins out of their system.
Just absolutely amazing stuff. And I just got to tell you, so I'm 1 week in. Do that real quick before we wrap up here. I've got about 2 minutes left. What is the time frame for the different things that people should expect as they wear these? So I have been wearing it for a week. What am I experiencing right now? And what should I expect in the weeks and months to come?
Yeah, I would encourage people to look at our studies because it's laid out really well. And we do all of the traditional blood and urine studies, saliva testing. These things get published. And basically within the first 24 hours, people will notice that they have improved energy and the quality of their sleep is improving. By the first week, people may notice that their skin is a little firmer. They have better cognition. Their memory starts to improve. The improvement in memory in 3 weeks, we did one study which showed that there was significant improvements in long-term, short-term memory, and also the speed at which people process information actually increases only 3 weeks of use. And then you continue to use the products within about 6 to 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and people will notice that they get an increase in collagen production in their skin, and this will reduce the appearance of lines and wrinkles. So those are some of the common things that people would experience. And then, of course, there's other effects as well.
Wow. I'm going to be a real terror over here if the speed at which I'm processing information is increasing, my memory. I remember what you said. Don't come over here and gaslight my audience, you see? Boy, the dog off the leash just became a whole lot more powerful. I love this stuff. Be a user there, sign up for auto ship, all kinds of things, get a whole year supply, become a business owner, make this a part of your retirement plan. There's all kinds of different levels of involvement here. But if you want to actually reverse the aging process, this actually does it. Scientifically proven to do it. All of the studies are there at LifeWave. David, we just really appreciate you. I cannot wait to be here going through all of this, showing the result. I mean, and it'll be impossible for people to not look at a timeline of Stu Peters because I'm on the air every single day, week after week after week. All we have to do is rewind the tapes. And I can show you, here's a picture of me then, here's a picture of me now. And the energy part and the information processing, last night I was on a live stream with King Bao, and I surprised myself. I mean, everything was just firing off, where you're not writing a monologue and you're just remembering and recalling events, and you're remembering and it was just happening very quickly. I didn't even attribute it to this, but now that you say that, there's really nothing else different that has happened in my life other than these LifeWave patches. Do not miss out on this. If you want to be 61 and look like you're 20, like David here does, I can't wait to look like I'm in my 20s again. And performing like I'm in my 20s again in all aspects of life. David Schmidt, thank you so much. God bless you.
Thanks, Dave. God bless you.